Hey everyone, and welcome back to the History Reader. In today's video I'm going to do a little bit of a book haul. I missed last week's video because we had a public holiday here in Australia, and then it just sort of threw off my whole schedule for the week in terms of like when I exercise in the mornings, and normally I either exercise in the morning or I film a video, but with 1 week kind of taken out of the equation, 1 day taken out of the equation last week, that just got a little bit messed up and the video ended up falling to the wayside. But I did pick up or acquire a sort of a nice set of books last week, so I thought I would do a book haul. So these books are a mix of some I got from a second-hand bookstore. It's a second-hand bookstore sort of nearby to where I live that I did know was there, but kind of just forgot about, and then I was down that way a couple of weeks ago and walked past it. I was like, oh, I should come here more often and have a look. So it's one of these sort of quite narrow little stores where it's got several levels and different rooms and different levels. And it's all quite narrow in the bookshelves, and it's a very, very cool place. So I went there and I picked up some books, and then a friend was moving house and he was getting rid of some books, and so he gave me some that he thought I would like. So that's kind of the mix I've got here. I'll start with probably my most exciting acquisition in terms of owning the book. Though I don't know when I'm going to get around to reading these, but I found the sort of full set of Winston Churchill's A History of the English-Speaking Peoples, and these are first editions. So they're published by Castle, sort of in the 60s when they were obviously written and published. One of them still actually has the dust jacket. So these were purchased by a library nearby, and I'm actually going to put them down. They're quite fragile. They were purchased by a library sort of nearby to here. They've still got in the front, they've got the little library tag thing where they put the due date, and so I can see due dates in all of them dating back to the 60s. And then all the way through to about 2002, when they must have been sold at a library book sale, and then sat in someone's collection, and eventually got sold off to the second-hand bookshop. So I've actually got a full collection of Churchill's History of the Second World War in the Castle editions, the first editions. So this was a really cool one to spot and pick up. I think they were $12 a piece or something, so not the cheapest, given that there's a book printed in the 60s, but it's the first edition, and they're in okay condition. Some of the covers are a little bit worse for wear, given that they've been read so many times. So I might have a look into getting them repaired, just so that they sort of stand up to test the time, because hopefully I'll hold on to those for a long time. So that's the first one I picked up. The next one was this one, John Terrain, Business in Great Waters, the U-Boat Wars 1916 to 1945. I've been really interested in the U-boats, and in particular I've been interested in naval history in the 20th century, particularly that early period. And I saw this one as a really big, chunky one. And the other thing that sort of made me really interested is it's got, towards the back, a whole bunch of appendices. And they sort of look at, month by month, they look at different things, but various statistics. So I thought that's actually kind of a handy thing to have, just in terms of going and referencing that. So I just actually finished reading Peter Padfield's War Beneath the Sea, which is a look at the U-boat wars or submarine warfare in the Second World War. And so it obviously focuses quite heavily on the U-boats, but also looks at British, Italian, American, Japanese submarines. So like I was in the midst of reading that and I saw this one and picked it up. So I think I'm going to get to this fairly soon, just because I'm still in that headspace. So it'll probably like breeze through a little bit more, given that I've got a lot of the detail fresh in my mind already. The last one that I actually bought is this one. It is 6 Frigates, How Piracy, War and British Supremacy at Sea Gave Birth to the World's Most Powerful Navy, and that is by Ian W. Toll. The thing that drew my attention to this is the author. Ian Toll wrote quite a famous series on the Second World War in the Pacific. I believe the first volume of that is Pacific Crucible. Now I've been on the lookout for those books for a while. They're like fairly pricey, and I do like to buy second-hand books when I can. So I've been on the lookout for those books second-hand for a while, and haven't seen them. But I saw the author and I'm like, oh, like see which one this is. And this is something that I actually thought it was going to be about the British Navy, but it's not. It's about the birth of the US Navy, which is kind of interesting. I read, I think, inside the dust jacket, it sort of talks about how, I think they set it up at Trafalgar, obviously 1805, Nelson defeating Napoleon's fleet, and the British Navy being the Navy. And then over the ensuing century, the US Navy becoming more and more of a factor. And obviously by the time that we get towards the Second World War, it is the Navy in the world. So, I'm interested to read this. I'll probably also get to it fairly soon. I'm interested to see how Toll writes. Maybe if I don't vibe with his writing, I won't be so keen to pick up Pacific Crucible and the rest of that trilogy, but we'll definitely see. So that's that one I picked up, and this is in a beautiful hardcover, by the way. I love the dust jacket design, and then obviously it's like fairly standard hardcover, but I like the fact that they did stylize the title on the spine there, which they don't always do. Sometimes you just get like little writing saying what the title is. So going on to the ones that were gifted to me. First one here is Richard Fiddler's Ghost Empire, and this is about the Byzantine Empire. I don't really know a whole lot of details about it. It is a popular history book. It's published by the ABC, the Australian Broadcasting Corporation. They have a publishing arm. So it is published by them, and you can kind of see the text. I'll actually just bring that a bit closer. Kind of see the text is a little bit on the sort of larger side. Although Richard Fiddler, I have heard, is quite good, and he's got a few other books. I think one on Prague, if I'm not mistaken. So I think this will be a nice sort of relaxing read, and something that I really don't know all that much about is that sort of period of like late antiquity, I suppose, and looking at like Byzantium and Constantinople and all of that. So this should be a good read, probably one that like a holiday read, I'd imagine. Next one here is again like a little bit more of a popular history book, one that you would find in like your average bookstore, like popular bookstore. It is Cemut by Christine Helliwell. The subtitle is The Untold Story of a Secret Australian Operation in World War II Borneo. So this obviously fits into that, like, write a book about a secret operation in the Second World War and it will sell kind of category. I don't have any reference point for whether this will be a good book or not. My friend said he really enjoyed it. Obviously people have different tastes. I have no idea. So I'm going to give it a go and we'll see. It does have Paul Ham on here, writing a praise for it. So I think it'll be well worth. It's published by Penguin. It'll be well worth giving a good shot, particularly as I don't know that much about the Pacific War, and that's something that I do want to start reading up on. And then the last one, this one was also gifted to me, and this is probably the one that I was most sort of eager to read, and I've actually started it. This is the Four Horsemen Riding to Liberty in Post-Napoleonic Europe by Richard Stites, and this is an Oxford University Press book. This is definitely much more in the scholarly history category, and it is about the four Decembrist revolutions in 1820s Europe. So it looks at the 1820 revolution in Spain, Guglielmo Pepe's march into Naples, Alexandros Ypsilanti in Greece, I believe, and then Sergei Muraviev Apostol in Russia or Ukraine. I forget exactly which one. So it looks at those, but more broadly it's looking at this idea of liberalism in post-Napoleonic Europe and how liberalism is both like a sort of consistent idea across Europe, but also is different depending on where it pops up, and then how that sort of manifests in things like constitutions and things like that. So I've read a little bit of this, I read the sort of introduction chapter and a little bit of the first chapter on Spain, and so far it's really, really good. It is a scholarly book, so it's not giving a full history per se. It is sort of very narrowly focused on that idea of trying to understand what the term liberty means in each place. So it's not got all the context, but very, very well written. I think it, from reading the preface, basically the Richard Stites died while he was writing this. I think he had basically a completed version, so they said, but in like different files on his computer, and so it's been stitched together posthumously and published. So anyway, that's all of the books I have to show you today. It's quite a nice little range of books, and I'm getting to the point now where I've got like stacks of books. I'll see if I can actually... I've got like stacks of books here on the chair, which is not super useful. So I'm going to need to do some reorganizing here so that I can put the books on the shelf. So anyway, thanks for watching. I will see you next week in another video. Hope you read some good stuff this week, and I'll see you then. Bye.